So hi everybody and welcome back. This is C++ tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 211 and in this video we continue with our exercise. And you can see here is the exercise description and we have finished already the login system and we have already created a linked list, but our created linked list is not right. What I mean with that is we have just discussed how to create one possible linked list. There are different ways, but what I mean it is not right, when we scroll down and see, you can see how I call my linked list. This is one version, there are different versions. The thing what is not right is you can see I add just one value, but in my exercise here my output should look like this, which has more values in it, which means we have to change our created linked list. We know how to create a linked list and we will just extend now this linked list. And let's see how we can do this. It is actually very easy because like you can see here in this example, we have finished the first column and what we did here is just, let's go to the node. This is the node which we created and you can see in this node we have just added this int, in my case this number data, and this number data is actually this score here. Perhaps I should change this number data to score data, makes more sense. I don't know why I have it number data here, but I don't know if I change now, if it change a lot of places. I hope not. Oh yes, here too. Let's keep this score data, but you should know this score here is this number data in my node, and this is what we have. And now we need just the other values too, and that is very easy. We just add these values to our node. Which means when we create this node, we create not only the score, which is just this variable, we create the other ones too. And you can see here, I did this already. So what we do is actually, we just write in our node the other values as well. So here I need a name. You can see I created std_string name. I initialize it with nothing at start, like old time. And the character class is also a string. In my case, you can see std_string, I called it character class, and this. And that's it, which means when I create now this node, I have just to fill here as well these values. So you can see we can change as well if we want this constructor. What I mean with that is the constructor right now, you can see we created here one. And this constructor was what again? It has a parameter, but it has also a default value, which means this one can be used as a default constructor and as a parameterized constructor. Very important to note, but we can now extend this as well if we want. So for example, if you are interested, you say, if I call this node, I want that it is automatically assigning here the values. I have not did this, but let's see, I don't know why I have not made this, but let's keep it and let's go on. So important is now we have extended this node, and here a very important side note. This kind of stuff you can see when we use a node, sometimes they use, not sometimes, more times, they use a struct. And when they use a struct, they prefer just using only data. So I talked about this a little bit in my earlier videos. Most programmers prefer structs when they just want to use plain data, or let's say just data in the struct, and they use classes most times when they include functions, constructors, and all other kind of stuff. But you should just aware of this, because when you create an array, or let's say you are reading a code from another person and he is using an array and they have a custom class, this custom class is most time not a class, it is most time a struct. But we learned class and struct are almost similar. They have only a different access specifier and some inheritance differences, which we will talk when we are there. All right, I hope so far it's okay. So we just extended this one, and now we can fill this data in. But the next step is, what we have to do is how we call this. Let's go to the call step, and I go down to my main, because here is our start point. And this was the old code, right? That was what I have made before. So you can see we have here the other parts are missing. And now what I do is I can call it by just adding here the other values. For example, I could add list, and then I have to say, oh, that's not working, right? Normally I would now say I add here the name what I need, for example, whatever, coder, and then I add the character class, let's say warrior. But you can see this one will probably not work, but anyhow it's not complaining. But the reason why it should normally not work is when we go to this add list, and we can go here and go here. The shortcut, it's better to use the shortcut. So I don't use right now the keyboard so that you can see what I'm doing. So you can go here to definition, it jumps there. And you can see this add to list. I have already extended it. So that's the reason why it is not using it. And actually, careful, what I did is, we already created this add to list, right? That was this one here actually. But I said, wait a minute, I have just extended here this one node so that I can fill in this two data, which means I don't have to change so much about this add to list function. This add to list function it's adding all the entries to our linked list, right? This is my function here. And I said, okay, I need just extend this add to list with these two new parameters and add their two new and make an assignment for the new parameters. So what I did is, instead of using this function here, what I have, this was the first one, I just extended it. So what I mean with extended, I just copied the whole thing here. Let's copy this one. And then I pasted it here on top. And the only thing what I changed now from the function what I have and the new one is, you can see the parameter. I just added here two parameters. These are exactly the two new parameters here, the name and the character, which I need here. And that's the first step. But of course, when we add these parameters, it means most time we will use them, right? And so then I watched in my code here, the only thing what changed, you can see, I added here an assignment for this new parameters, and the assignment in my code is just a temp. This temp here is the node which will be created already all time temporarily with this function here. You can see I create first a pointer, then this pointer here will be assigned by create node, and create node, when I press now F12, it's faster. Create node is just creating this node and assigning it to the pointer, which means this create node, what you can see here is actually this node here. It is creating exactly this. Now I have these two values, and when I go back to this function, you can see I do just adding these parameters now to the value of this node here, which means the name and character class. You can see I call this, how we call this again, because it's a pointer. You can see I use the pointer symbol. Then I have the name, so I access this one here. You can see when I click on it, it highlights this one here. And I assigned a new parameter which I will give in, and I called it name param. So I called it name and param, name because it is the name, and parameter because it's a parameter, so that we can see it comes from here to here. And the same thing I did with the next one, which you can see we have here this character class, and here I accesses again with this pointer, and here the character class access. So, and that's already it for what I need to change. One more thing. You can see I have not deleted the old one to show you that what I'm using now, why is this possible to this? You can see we have here only, let's say, two values. Okay, oh, not this one. This one I have already changed. But here I have only two values, and here I have three values with the same name. You can see it is the same name, add list and add to list. So the reason we already learned this in our tutorial, this is called overloading functions, and as long as you have different parameters, and we have here different parameters, you can see I have here 2 and I have here 4. So as long as you have different parameters, the compiler can distinguish them. But to make it more readable for yourself, you can just give this a better name, a unique name, so you know this is just add to list, and this one I don't know, I don't need actually right now, but I just kept it because I said, hey, perhaps I can use this code as well in the future, which means I can extend this one here, so I can use this as a prototype. I want to show you this, but normally I would delete this or put it in another file. So here on the right side, create here a text file or a CPP file where I put it in as a spare code, which I can, or a code snippet, which I can use in other paths. So because I don't need that, I will delete it in this case, because like I said, I forgot something very important. No, I deleted it. Now I should bring it back. Control C, Control Z, Control Z. Okay, so it's back again. So there is one thing what I forgot to mention, because this code here, this add to list code here, what we created, has a head code that was this head pointer, which was outside. Very important when you copy something and you have related variables like this one. You can see this this variable, this pointer, which was declared outside, is related inside this add to list. When you have something like this, you have to be careful, because then when you copy something like me here, then you have create this separately. And the reason for that is here, because this one, like I said before, I just copied this one, and this one can be, I don't know, used before. Let's say I used this here before. You can see I call this before. Then this head here, score list head null pointer, is changed, and later I call this one, but my start condition should be normally null ptr, and that's the reason why you have to create this one separately again. So if you have dependencies, careful about this, make these dependencies additionally. So what I mean with that, you can see this the score list head is outside. I have to create this outside as well with a new variable, which is not connected to this one here. That's very important. And then I have to replace this in my code, which I copied all places there where it was used. So you can see in my case, this, when I click on this, it is highlighted. It is just used here. The same I do here. I click here. It was here. I had to change it here. I called it then score list head to temp. That's very important. Careful about when you do copy paste, because that was copy, we pasted, we extended, and then we have still to check that if that all works. All right. That's very nice, but let's go to the call place now, because now we have a node, we have understand this, but now I delete this. I wanted only explain this one for you fast. Or let's comment this out instead of deleting. Perhaps I need this later again, whatever, who knows. Let's comment this out and let's make this small. So this is out. So let's go to our call, and you can see, because I comment this one out, this one was our demonstration code. This was our first code. Let's go. This one I delete actually. No, let's comment this also out, because yeah, normally I would get rid of it, but that's okay. That's right now. So now we can follow the steps. That's why I'm not deleting that, or perhaps I need this again. All right, let's continue here a little bit. So what was our task again? Our task is just create the list, and we are not finished. We have created the node. That is this node here. Yes, with the data, we have extend this create node here is the same. So here we did nothing. This node here we changed. That is our add list. This is the creation of our linked list. Actually, we're adding and creating. So this name is actually not so good. We should call this add to list. Yeah, let's keep it. Normally I would call this like create linked list by adding something like so. All right, that is our creating linked list. And then we have to go to the print list. We will come here in a moment because we have to change here one thing too. But before we go there, we go to our login. So because I want test this, or let's say not test this, sorry, I want call it, because I have made all these things, but let's see how I can call it. Like before, I called it, you can see here, that was our call step, this add to list. We just call this function, and with one parameter here, and now we have here 3 parameter, and yeah, that's it, what we have. So actually very easy, but you can see when my code looks a little bit more difficult. Why my code looks so difficult when it's so easy? You can see here, this part was our login part, right? You could use your own login system. I used it here. That was our first task, reuse login system. You could create one. And now that is this login system, and it's not the best one, but it works. And now I want that after I logged in, that this linked list will be created. So with other words, I want that this one should go. That's why I have here added this line, which means just a check. If my login found name password is true, and this one will be only true when indeed you found one. So you can see this one will become true only where it becomes true. You becomes here my login account. Yeah, here this one will probably set it. We can check this one here. We press here F12, we jump in, we expand this, and you can see this one here will probably set it true anyhow. I hope so. Okay. And yeah, I checked it, that will just set it to true. So you can see this, my login. Let's go here again. Login, my login, and here in login F12. Here, this is this class login, and here you can see here is this variable bool found and found name and password, and here it's by default false. And only when this one becomes true, then you can attempt here to the next one, and this will become only true if this password was set to true. And here I just check this one setting. You can see it's very simple. It's just a if check. If it's okay, if you found if you have put in the right password and login, then you can attempt here this code, and this code is our call. Here is the call, the new call. Instead, you can, let's compare this. This is the old call. You can see that was this with one parameter, and what I do here is just added one more parameter. And let's make here, for example, coder. Let's call this one Mehmet. And here's one more thing. You can see I have here strange spaces, and this is just formatting, right? So this one is just for format purposes, and we are not coding here the formatting. So formatting means how you represent it, because we are concentrating here more on just the keywords and so on. So the call is very easy. Then the call is done. So when I call here, this one is calling that what I have. Let's press here again F12 to jump into the node. We can expand. We can see that was that what I discussed with you. We extended this one and all this. This is fine, but there is one more thing which I have to discuss, which is our print list. And that is the reason for that is, of course, we have now to change the print list 2 because I want to represent this one on the screen, which means I make it just with a print statement. And here is just a print function. I just get the node, and we have already made this. That was when we created this one, we had already created this print list here, but in this case I don't extended it, I just changed it, which means my print list is now, you can see we had here this while loop, it started here with this one, now I extended just the other 2 parameters too, and here this strange space is just for formatting, which means so it looks similar to this one here, but this is just visuals, which is not so important, but later you need this for final products, but right now we make no visual programming or GUI programming, which is more it is called. Okay, so you can see I just added here the output with this 2 new variables which we added. That was you can see that was this character class and name. And important is here's one more line which I added here on top, and the reason for that is this top line is just this headline here. So this one will be, you can see this is the while loop. This one will be printed out in a while loop, but this one I don't want, of course, loop. I want just print it one time, and you can see I just add it on top one time, and then I call the while loop, which will print our linked list. So, and that is the first simple attempt. It's not good, but it works. I hope you did something better or similar, or even I hope that you tried at least, because that's the reason why we make this exercise. Because like I'd say it all time, you have really tried. Understanding alone will not help. The only it is even better that you make mistakes and try it again and try it again till you fix it, than just understand it. All right, that's good. So let's test this code if it is working. Perhaps I messed it up too, but let's see. You can see here. Let's test first of all the wrong case or the worst case, which means I try all time typing in the wrong password. So let's make this. I have 3 attempts. That was my login. Yes, that is good. So far is expected. After 3 failed attempts, I won't quit the program. That works. So let's make it now with the right password. In my case, I made it coder A. And you can see it says account login accepted. And here I have printed out. The problem here is I have not included all variables, I mean all list names, so which means I have now to add this to. Let's do this. It's very simple. We can just copy this one. Of course, there is also a better solution than that what I do right now, but let's use the simple solution right now here, because I want just achieve this one, and we make it not too complicated, like I said. All right, let's say this is Wonder Woman. Let's make here Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman is also warrior, I think. She is a warrior, all right. Don't know. Mehmet is let's say what I am. I'm a summoner. All right, and this Maggie, let's call Maggie here. Maggie is a mage, right? Something like so. The problem here is, again, you can see here the space here. I don't know if this will look now right, but like I said, we don't care. Important is that we have, and of course I need here the values as well, which is 3010. Let's see, it's this one. 3010. Save, test, and we see coder A. Oh yeah, the formatting is not good. That is the first thing what I have to change later. Again, I have to put more space, but you can see it is working, right? Here we have our title. That was what I showed you here in my print list. And then we have the loop, which loops our linked list, which is nice. And with that said, we have finished this start part. That was here this create list I have just make a little bit formatting, but that I make offline. And in the next video, I will talk again about sort. And we have talked so much about sort. We have different kind of sort. But what I want make next time is that what you should also, I hope you should also made it, which is just create it with your own skills. Doesn't matter what kind of sort is out there. Just try it on your own. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. The only thing which is important that it works. Doesn't matter if it has a very slow. It should just work because your goal is just to train the keywords. And in my case, I will show you the developer approach, which means I make also a crap code, but this crap code is not really crap because it's called prototyping. Prototyping means it is not perfect. You make mistakes, you go back, forth, until you understand what you are doing. And that I will show you in the next one. And actually I will use again a sort which we already discussed, but that was the bubble sort. So you can see the bubble sort. We tried to understand the bubble sort, and I showed you a wrong website who implemented not really a bubble sort. They implemented a sort but not bubble sort, and I will implement now with my, let's say, developer approach, which is not really good, but it's very important that you see what I mean with that one, the bubble sort. And I will use this sort here in this list here, which means I will choose here probably the score as a sort to make it easy. I want not make it too complicated because you can of course make it complicated and say I can sort as well on names, and then I just check here the first letter of the name. And then you can do the same thing here on character classes and so on. We skip all this other sorts. I make just the score, and then I can sort it in one way, ascending or descending. We will see. All right. I hope you are better than me and already finished this exercise because I wasted a lot of time. Anyway, in the next video, we will continue, and I hope that you learn more than me, get better than me. And with that said, see you in the next video. Good luck, never give up, and have fun. Bye.